Trading price action is the most dangerous thing in trading, not because it doesn't work, but because it almost works. It works just enough to keep you stuck forever. You win a few trades, so you think you're onto something. Then you lose a few, but you think it's just a part of trading. Then you win a few more, then lose a few more, but you don't ever get much past where you started. That's the exact situation I was in. I was burning thousands every month trying to trade this way, and I thought my only mistake was that I didn't study or backtest enough. We're all taught that price action is king, and that everything else comes second. But now, as a professional trader that makes 5 figures a month, I realized it was the other way around. If price action actually worked, why do 95% of traders still fail? It's not that they're lazy or dumb or undisciplined. They're doing everything they're told to do, but they're still losing. That's not a skill issue. The entire framework is broken. So in this video, I'm going to show you why price action will keep you stuck at zero, and what to actually do instead to grow long term. And just a quick disclaimer before we start, this isn't financial advice. I'm just showing you what works for me. If you decide to use it, trade at your own risk and size properly. So let's get into it. The entire concept of price action is based on the idea that you can predict what the price will do next by studying what it just did. And on paper, it makes sense. You see a wedge, you expect a reversal. You see a bullish engulfing, you expect continuation. Simple, right? But when you actually trade it, it's not so simple. The trade doesn't work half the time, and when it does work, you execute it wrong or miss out on it. The problem is that price action doesn't actually tell you what's coming. You're not predicting anything. All you're doing is looking at the past and hoping it repeats. And sometimes it does, other times it doesn't. And that's exactly what keeps you stuck. You're not trading a system. All you're doing is flipping a coin with extra steps. It's like trying to predict where someone is going next by looking at their footsteps. You can tell where they've been, but that doesn't help you reliably know where they'll go next. Even if you can get it right a few times, it's not something you can do repeatedly and consistently. So if price action can't predict the price, what do we use instead? Well, you stop trying to predict and start filtering instead. See, the problem with price action isn't just that it's random. It's that it forces you to make a decision on every candle, and every pattern. Your brain is constantly asking, what does this mean? And that's exhausting. That's how you end up over trading and revenge trading. But what if you didn't have to interpret anything? What if you just had a set of conditions and your only job was to check if they're met or not? No reading and no guessing. No, I think this looks bullish, just yes or no. So this could be something like, at the market open on ES, if the price is above the 50 moving average and in an uptrend, I'll buy the break of the previous high. If the price is below the 50 moving average and in a downtrend, I'll short the break of the previous low. That's already way better than pulling up a chart and trying to predict what'll happen next using price action. So that's what a system trader does. He's not smarter than you. He's not better at reading candles. He just removes the guesswork. He has a set of rules, and if the conditions line up, he takes the trade. If they don't, he does nothing. And that one shift is what takes power away from the randomness of the market. You're not constantly on alert. Your psychology is at ease. You have less trouble executing consistently. Things start naturally turning in your favor. Imagine if two guys had to dig a hole. The first guy gets on his knees and starts digging with his bare hands. The second guy has a shovel and uses it to dig the hole. So the question is, who has the better method? Well, let's compare. In terms of how easy it is, the hands guy is constantly struggling. Every rock and every root are problems he needs to solve with his hands. The shovel guy just needs to dig. Much less thinking and less struggle. It's both physically and mentally easier for the shovel guy. In terms of effectiveness, the hands guy is working harder than anyone, but the hole is barely getting deeper. The shovel guy puts in much less effort to get way more results. The shovel guy is way more effective than the hands guy. In terms of sustainability, the hands guy is destroying himself. His fingers are raw, his body is giving out. He won't last very long and will very likely get hurt. The shovel guy can pace himself, and he can last for way longer. He wins again. And lastly, time efficiency. The hands guy can dig for hours and he still wouldn't get the results that the shovel guy can get in just minutes. The shovel guy is clearly way more time efficient. So, by every single metric, the shovel method is better than the hands method. There is no downside whatsoever to digging with a shovel over digging with your hands, only upside. Now, the guy digging with his hands here is the price action trader. He's got no structure, it's just him and the chart, trying to claw his way to consistency using nothing but his own read on what the candles are doing. It's maximum effort for minimum results. The guy with the shovel is the system trader. He's separated himself from directly being involved in the groundwork by using the shovel. He's got a process to extract dirt from the ground. Way less effort than the hands guy for much better and more consistent results. I used to be a price action trader, and all it did was dip my account into the negatives and burn tons of cash. Then I found systems trading, and that's what repaired the damage that price action trading did. I was able to bring my account back up and turn positive. But there was a problem. I traded better in every way possible, but I couldn't really seem to ramp it up and scale it the way I expected. The recovery was quick, but eventually my progress plateaued. Systems trading is not what took me to 5 figures a month consistently, because the shovel isn't the final answer. There's actually a third guy, and that's the excavator. Let's compare the excavator to the other two. When it comes to how easy it is, the excavator guy literally has to sit down and press buttons. That's it. In terms of effectiveness, what would take the hands guy hours and would take the shovel guy minutes, the excavator can do in seconds. The excavator clearly wins. In terms of sustainability, the excavator can go on essentially forever with very little effort on his part. He will never get exhausted, unlike the hands guy and the shovel guy. He wins again. And in terms of time efficiency, the excavator is by far the most time efficient. So the excavator is the better by every possible metric. And this is what finally got me to consistent 5-figure months and beyond. This is what actually turned trading into a serious profession. So if hands are price action trading and the shovel is system trading, then what's the excavator? Well, the excavator is what's known as level-to-level trading. This is what separates the guys who grind for years and go nowhere from the guys who trade 20 minutes a day and pull consistent payouts. And it's not some secret or some hidden indicator, it's just a completely different way of seeing the market. Remember the footsteps guy? Using price action would mean looking at the patterns of past steps to determine where he'll go in the future. And this obviously won't work because past footsteps can't tell you future direction. It's not a metric that has any predictive power. But you know what does? His behavior. See, if you actually watch this guy, not his footsteps but him, you'll start to notice something. He doesn't walk randomly. He's not just wandering around with no purpose. He's walking somewhere. There's a point he's moving toward. And if you stop staring at the ground and just look up, you can see it. Now everything changes. You don't need to analyze the angle of his last 3 steps, and you don't need to measure the distance between his footprints. You just need to see where he's going, and you wait there. That's exactly how the price moves. And the way we figure out where price is headed, just like reading this guy's behavior, is through volume. Volume tells you what the price never could. It tells you where buyers and sellers are and how they behave. And since buyers and sellers are what move the market, you're looking at what actually matters. When heavy volume comes in at a specific price, it's not by accident. It's a point that buyers and sellers found important. When an area is lacking volume, that's not an accident either. The price doesn't forget. It moves to where the buyers and sellers are, and will keep moving there over and over again. So while price action is like a map that only shows you the past, but not the future, and therefore mostly rendering it useless, volume shows you the coordinates of the future. The main way we map this out is with a tool called the volume profile. Now, I have a full video where I go in depth on exactly how to find and map out these coordinates with the volume profile, and I'll link that here. But once we map these levels out, we now know the areas that the market is attracted to. So you're no longer asking what might happen next. You're asking, which level is the price going to? That's a question you can actually answer, and it's something you can repeat consistently. And when you can repeat something consistently, you can scale it. The entire process is set before you even begin. The levels are mapped out. You don't need to figure out the chart every time you look at it. I just trade the LCE model. Whenever the price enters a level, I wait for confirmation that it'll move in my direction, then execute and exit at the next level. Level, confirmation, and execution. You just trade from one level to another and repeat. Minimal effort, highly effective, and very scalable. That's what finally took me to 5 figures a month. And by the way, if you want to master this system, that's exactly what we do inside the LCE Accelerator. It's a one-on-one program where you get weekly calls, a private chat with me, access to my exact supply and demand chart, and a community of traders who all follow the same system and hold each other accountable. We also have a live trading room where you can follow and trade with other LCE traders every day. The link's below if you're interested. And if this video helped you, drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.